Everyone, thank you for joining us today. You are in the Agentforce for Retail, AI Agents Redefining Commerce. You are at Connections. You are in the right place. What did you guys think of the keynote this morning? Pretty good stuff. I was very excited to see it. We have so many products here at Salesforce now. I haven't looked at Marketing Cloud in a couple years because I've been focused on other things. And it's just amazing to see all of the innovation, and we've got a lot more to show you today. My name's Gordon Evans. I am the Chief Marketing Officer of our Commerce Cloud, and with me today is Martin Priest from our Industry Advisory team. David Rosenbaum, the Managing Partner from Rose Tree Solutions, is here. He's going to talk about his practical experience in helping clients like yourselves build AI agents. And then we're going to see a really compelling demo from Janie and Jack, given by Scott Beeler, our Principal Solution Engineer. So we've got a great show for you, jam-packed into the next 45 minutes. We will be making a few forward-looking statements. So please make your purchase decisions based on features that are currently available. And we're here to inspire you, we're here to motivate you, but what does Mark always say? We're here to thank you. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you being a customer, a partner, being in our community. We couldn't do this without you, so thank you very much. And so we're going to cover probably 5 things today. Agentforce and how it works. We just saw a lot of that in the keynote, so I'm going to keep it pretty brief up front, but just if you missed the keynote, we'll do a little primer. We're going to talk about the different use cases that we're seeing in service and commerce and marketing all across the spectrum for retailers using agents. And then what I wanted to do is make it practical. Like, what are the considerations that go into building these things? What are some examples of folks that have done it, like yourselves? Then we're going to take a little side detour. We're going to show you some new capability that we just acquired for point of sale. So we showcase that, and then we'll show you how that comes to life in a unified commerce scenario that connects e-commerce, e-commerce, order management, and then point of sale in a great demo. So you guys with me? Does that sound good? Yeah, okay, all right. So it's Agentforce. It is a digital labor platform. It's here to augment your human employees and human workers in your organizations already. It's trusted. It keeps your humans in the loop. It's deeply unified. It starts at the bottom with our Salesforce platform, then our data cloud with these 2 unique capabilities around zero copy and retrieval augmented generation. Basically, that means if you already have data in Snowflake or somewhere else in your organization, you can just access that data. You don't have to make another copy in our data cloud. Then you have all of our Customer 360 apps, including commerce and point of sale, service marketing, things that you know and love and are using today. And then all the different kinds of agents that you can build, the ones that we're going to build, and then, of course, the ones that you can build with our platform tools as well. And all of that is to augment your existing employees, elevate the shopper experience, reduce costs, and grow revenue. And so, but what are these agents all really about? What are the attributes of an agent? And so there's 5 things that kind of make that up. The role, what do you want the agent to do? What is the job this agent should be doing? And what are the instructions that you need to give it? What data can it access? Can it see your inventory data? Can it see your orders? So what data does it need to serve in that role? What actions do you want it to take? Do you want it to be able to do returns, do discounting, etc.? And what are the guardrails? Like, do not give a discount rate higher than X%, whatever that might be, but have some governance over the agent's capabilities. And then where is this agent going to operate? A lot of people think intuitively, oh, this is going to be just on my website. It's a new version of my chatbot. But agents can also operate in SMS. They can operate in apps. They can operate in WhatsApp. So anywhere your shoppers are, you can implement an agent strategy as well. And it really starts with having that conversation, some sort of trigger to initiate the agent. So a lot of that, in the context that we all know, is in that chat kind of conversation on your site. Someone's looking for a product, they're trying to discover something new to buy, they're looking for something specific. But it can also be triggered by an API or a flow that you may have implemented. Maybe something hits a threshold and you want the agent to engage a human around a stock out or something like that. Then that goes into what we call our Atlas reasoning engine. This is kind of the brains of Agentforce. This is where it looks at the instructions, it looks at all the data, it examines it, it makes some decisions, and then it takes an action. And so those actions can be anything. It could be a return, it could be an exchange, inventory check, looking up an order. All of these are capable, or it's whatever you want it to do, whatever action you want the agent to take, and then you've got the outcome. And then what's good about that is that that all gets fed back into the Atlas reasoning engine. So it's continually learning about shopper behavior, about your organization's behavior, and it will get smarter over time. The more data you feed it, the more actions it takes, the more outcomes it have, it's gonna get better and better. So that is a quick primer on agents and Agentforce and how it can be used in the retail context. Now, to get to the next level and talk through the practical considerations, please welcome to the stage Martin and David. Gentlemen.
Thank you. Let's give it up for Gordon, everybody. Hi, everybody. Martin Priest, industry advisor at Salesforce, focusing on retail. What does that mean? I worked in retail for 16 years before I joined, working for a lot of different brands. And David here from Rose Tree Solutions. So what we want to start off with was so you hear a lot about Agentforce, you hear a lot about agentic AI, right? And what it can do for you and drive productivity. And there is immense potential inside generative AI to drive productivity, both in taking over sort of repetitive, mundane, or not mundane tasks, but repetitive tasks that we've done at scale, as well as working side by side with humans. So where we wanted to kind of start here was I'm always saying to myself, but how can it help me? Literally in what ways can it help me? So where we wanted to start off here was actually just putting up a list of all of the agents that exist out of the box today available inside from a retail industry perspective. So think of these as these skills, and if you're a little bit old school inside the sort of the retail digital world like I am, there's these things called accelerators, which are these pre-built solutions that are sort of ready for you to modify and add your data into. That's a lot of what these agents are. So you've got agents here that are spanning everywhere from sort of helping employees internally, so an onboarding agent or an FAQ agent. FAQ agent, that's a wonderful, really easy use case of just feeding it a bunch of documents and allowing it to basically be understood by an agent and talk to all of your new staff coming in. You've got things from planning and assortment agents, supply chain, logistics, marketing is obviously a huge one. There's a lot of potential right now, nascent potential, particularly from a personalization at scale perspective, but even a campaign agent, the ability for it to understand performance and actually build out a campaign brief for you, which you can then modify from that sense. Selling agents, personal shopper agents, there's a huge component happening right now where customers, consumers are using generative AI for product search. So how people are starting to interact and use search is changing, which changes how they use your search, sort of on your properties, right? And so thinking about things about how you bring that agentic experience into your brand world, controlling that experience. Of course, service, right? Getting into things, Wismo, where is my order? And then things like corporate and facilities, like supplier onboarding, field services, those components. So we just wanted to start here, and you can please take a picture of this. This deck does get shared out after, but we literally wanted to start with what is available today that you can utilize across the entire spectrum, basically, of your business, looking for those productivity enhancements. And I wanted to also share a customer story, which I picked because I really liked it myself. Now, this is a luxury retailer, and they do a lot. I think I may have a lot of consignment and as a part of their business model. So that part of the business is really, really labor intensive because they basically have to bring in products, they have to assess the products, take pictures of them. A lot of work goes into this process. And the people that have the skills to do that are also really busy managing the relationships with the people that they buy and source these products from. And so the solution to this was how do they basically enable this team that's really burdened by heavy overhead and operations, and how can they basically use an agent to support them? And so the solution here is that they're actually going to be implementing an agent that's going to actually work alongside these sales representatives. So what's gonna happen is the agent's gonna be able to access data across things like sales, marketing, and service, and actually be able to help them with things like you can see on the slide here, like actually like client appointment summarizations, doing the planning, doing basically all of this overhead work that they have to do. So I like this example a lot because you see a lot of the agents where it's like an agent just interacting with an end customer, but this is actually an agent that's gonna work alongside an internal employee that basically is gonna take over a lot of the administrative overhead that they have to do so that team can focus more on the relationship building with the current and existing customers and not so much time on all that overhead. And you can see on the bottom here, they're projecting to save 10 to 20% that's in a week that they're gonna save. And they're expecting an over 10% bump in sales volume because basically all that overhead's gonna be taken off this team's hands, and they're a highly skilled small team. So that's just sort of just like an example of like generative AI, an out-of-the-box agent that can be used alongside humans in addition to just sort of taking over a front-facing role. But where we wanna go next is like really getting into the nuts and bolts of where do you start with agentic AI? It's probably a question that most of us are asking ourselves is, where do I start with all of this? What are the pieces of this? What do I need to consider? And so we have David up here. We're gonna talk it through, an absolute expert on this. And so we want to sort of get started with like, if you're thinking about this, where do I start? There's all of those use cases, but really, like, what are my considerations to where do I start?
Perfect, yeah, thank you so much, Martin. David Rosenbaum, I'm one of the managing partners at Rosetree, and we're really, really fortunate to be able to work with Salesforce's leading and most tech-forward retail customers, and especially the ones that are getting their feet wet and really driving momentum with Agentforce. And so it's a really exciting time. Working with Gordon and the team and Martin on what are some of those expanded use cases and what are some of the best practices from a practical standpoint and the lessons learned we're seeing from these real implementations. So the first way I like to start this conversation is to kind of ground us on, well, what is an agent good at? The right tool for the right job. We see a lot of instances of conversations that go the way of, well, hey, I want to automate something in my business, let's throw AI at it. And it's like, well, let's take a step back and let's look at, again, the right tool for the right job. And so I kind of frame that up in 3 easy buckets. Of course, you could expand this conversation. We could make the entire presentation about what are agents good at. But let's start with one thing that we can look at, and especially in the retail environment where there's no wait lines. The agents are always on. They're 24/7. And so it's a really good opportunity to look at the business from what are the operating considerations where human labor starts and stops from a business hours perspective, or maybe where our stores are open or closed at certain hours, and where can agents augment the human labor force from that perspective. So again, always online, always present, and the ability to move things forward even when we're sleeping, and maybe our clients or customers are not. As Martin mentioned, from an LLM perspective, from a generative AI perspective, being complementary to AI agents and really that foundational technology to move this forward, it's really important to understand where Gen AI adds capabilities to these agents, and again, one more tool in our toolbox to solve unique business problems. And so what that means is the ability to look across systems, look at data across those systems, summarize content, and produce unique content. So that could be from the standpoint of summarization or cataloging concepts and pulling that together. So those are some of the, again, inherent concepts that can really drive forward and drive business use cases. And we'll talk a little bit about that on some of the next slides. The last one is taking action, and this can be within Salesforce, and this can be externally as well. And again, from a data perspective, the same thing. So taking a look at where we need to be able to move processes forward, using that generative content is a really key part of where we're looking at what agents are good at.
David, could you summarize the difference between sort of a chatbot and an agent? Like, there's a lot of chatbots out there today, agents. What is the defining difference?
Yeah, I would say that deterministic versus non-deterministic logic, and that ability to go outside of the if this, then that type of logic, which again, very much still has its place in a lot of use cases within our organizations. But whenever there's an opportunity to go hyper-personalized or really take broader context that an individual human and or the ability to write some of those rules go beyond that. And we'll talk about one of these examples that we're working with the customer currently. But I'd say that's those key differences and really that key strength that should be considered when we're looking at what type of automation to deploy. Great. So now that we understand what agents are good at from a conceptual standpoint and where to think about it within our business, the next question we get is, okay, well, where should I look within my organization? How do I apply this technology from a best practices standpoint? So again, kind of 3 areas where I like to start to poke and prod and look for those opportunities. So the first one is your existing platform automation. Where do you have, hopefully not workflow rules, but where do you have workflow, where do you have process builder, where do you have flow, Apex, et cetera? Where do you have existing business automation that at the time of going through business requirements and looking at what's the best way to solve a unique business problem for your organization, where you deployed some of these automation tools. And then again, to my point, where maybe previously available technology wasn't there to be able to say, well, what if we did take this from a hyper-personalized standpoint, or we're able to look across systems and under various circumstances that are not always deterministic or predictable, where can we apply this new technology to that to really open up new opportunities and new ways of working, which is a really key part of this as well. The second would be looking at existing business processes. Within, it might be our contact center, it might be sales, et cetera. Where do you have standard operating procedures that are documented? Where do you have that documentation that can guide you towards, well, the baton goes from this person to hand off to this person to hand off to this person? Where are there gaps in those processes? Again, just based on existing limitations from a technology standpoint or a human capital standpoint. The last one really kind of comes down to something that we are always talking about. How do we expand and improve the customer journey? Where can we prevent friction within our buying experiences? So again, these are things that we've talked about for years and years and years. These are not new concepts. But again, I go back to agents allow us a new way of working within our organizations. And so how can we take existing processes with a new lens and apply that technology to these legacy processes?
So if I want to tie all this slides together, so if I'm in this room today and I'm asking myself, where should I start with agents? So first of all, I'm putting a lens on of what are agents good at? Cheat sheet is that slide we had at the beginning there with sort of all of those skills that are there that are available. But then basically, if I'm going to look, now I'm going to say, okay, so now I kind of know what's ready out of the box, what skills they have, what they're good to do. Now I can go sort of look inside my business. And so one is look for existing automation, places that I'm already using some level of automation that maybe is good, not great, or even bad, right? And really could use basically a far more capable solution on top of that. Existing business processes, so this is where that onboarding FAQ I mentioned, it's one that I just particularly love myself because it's such a low-hanging fruit where it's just do you have just deep documentation somewhere that can be basically put into an agent to just make it more human accessible, and right? And then finally, the business pain points. So basically, where in your business are you seeing pain? Maybe a lack of scalability or drop off in conversions or things like that. So looking for those opportunities. So
and one more thing I'll add is, we enter a lot of these conversations initially of well, here's our standard operating procedure, a customer service rep or a sales individual, a lead comes in or a case comes in. The representative the intention is that they're supposed to go research that account. We have the Account 360, go look at all that information, pull that together, go look at all their orders. Well, what if you're in a high transactional environment? Is the rep gonna go look through dozens and dozens of orders, really understand the context of each of those, et cetera, et cetera? Same thing on the sales side. So again, this is another one of those things where in a few seconds, an agent can do that would otherwise take an individual many hours to go do that true summarization, go do that true lookup, and pull that together, and then with proper instruction, be able to understand what parts of this are important that make an impact to what that customer experience could look like if the individual human had the appropriate time to do so. And so going from what sounds good in theory or in our standard operating procedures to the closer you can get to the field, the closer you can get to the individuals that are doing this today to best understand, well, in a real world scenario, where are we dropping the ball with our customer experience? Where are we dropping the ball where you just don't have the time to do that? And where an agent can augment that experience with humans and agents working together to empower that individual to be that much better, to provide a better customer experience, whether that's sales, service, marketing, et cetera, and commerce.
Okay, now that we've talked about sort of the business side of it, there are, of course, the technical considerations.
Yeah, so I kind of call this slide the take your vitamin slide because these are a lot of concepts. Again, these are not new things from DevOps, release management, your data, governance, et cetera. So, but we are seeing in very real world scenarios where when these considerations are not, or these competencies internally are not healthy, that is preventing organizations from being able to move forward with digital labor. And so they are real blockers, and they have different, there's a spectrum, there's a maturity curve within each of these capabilities, but it's something to kind of look at. And again, not anything new to look at. These are things and concepts that have always been important to organizations from an IT perspective, but they really are those underlying pillars to what we, from a CI perspective or continuous innovation, that we're getting into conversations of, hey, here's what an agent's good at, here's what gaps you might have in your organization. Oh, but you don't have proper data governance. So the ability to maintain and look at that agent from a continuous innovation standpoint is going to hold you back. So now we're forced to look at a lesser impactful use case or a lower impact use case because you're hamstrung from an IT perspective in terms of those internal capabilities. So again, I start with that from a bottoms up perspective. So, and then from there, it's really a matter of treating this like human labor. We have an onboarding from a technology perspective. We have continuous training. We have continuous looking at performance. How are we doing? Encouraging feedback loops and maintaining that. Very, very, very similar concepts here. So I'm working up from the bottom here. And then, from the top, it's, we do see a lot of emphasis on, well, my data might not be ready, et cetera, et cetera. There are still so many use cases where, well, if we zoom in to what data is available, what value can we still drive from that perspective? And Martin, touched on some of these others in terms of from a guardrails perspective, and I know Martin's actually done a little bit of hands-on with agents. So Martin, maybe you want to talk about that.
So Salesforce is customer zero, and we're sort of building agents internally all the time. I'm literally building an agent right now with 3 other people. So I'm deep in this myself. We're building it out right now. And one of the things that I guess maybe I didn't fully appreciate until I got into it was the guardrails piece here, which is as we're building out this agent and then we're testing it with sort of this larger group of people, as we're getting feedback and we're seeing things we can basically just go back into the back end and using the guardrail and that trust layer, we can just easily set up rules and say, don't do this or think of this like that. And it's and we just do it we're business users and we're going in and adding these components in. So it's something that I wouldn't have appreciated till I did it myself to realize sort of how easy it is to basically do this testing implementation and sort of add layers on top of it, put some controls on, and just basically, and we're doing this in like minutes and an hour, rolling it all out and redoing it. So it's really cool. And the biggest takeaway for me as David and I talked about all of this leading up to this was, although agents are often being done today by maybe a small team, it's being done as a pilot, don't think of it as one and done. I think that's the biggest takeaway, is this will end up being a part of your overall IT operational infrastructure, the same way everything operates today. So depending on how you approach this and the teams and sort of how big or small you begin, think in the big picture that this is going to need to fit into that DevOps stream that you have today, but from an agentic perspective. And now, Dave is going to take you through another great customer use case and really get into the nuts and bolts of how this came to be live.
Yeah, so again, we talked about what are agents good at, some areas of opportunity within your organizations to apply this. So I'll walk through an actual customer example that we're implementing currently and is seeing some great results. So again, you'll start to see some of the key themes that I touched on as we go through this existing case study here. So the first one is we looked at this organization and said, where can we improve the customer experience? And this is a national furniture retailer. When you fill out a form online expressing interest in a product, they had one of 14 templates that, based on if this then that logic, that would apply a text message and say, hey, thanks for interest in XYZ product. Here are the next steps to be able to complete your purchase, and here's how we can proceed moving this order forward. So again, there's that if this then that logic, and we said, well, what if we didn't have those constraints? What would life look like? What would the customer journey look like? What would the conversion rate look like if we didn't have to take such a static view on what this journey would look like? And again, back to, well, that's an area where agents are really good, being able to have bespoke language, being able to go and search across multiple systems and gather that information and determine what's important here in the context of this customer experience and this customer order, and be able to drive that hyper-personalization towards a conversion. Let's go to the next slide. All right, so these are kind of the layers of what this project looked like. And so part of the stack was obviously our website being the main face with a customer from a customer engagement perspective. We're tracking what pages and how much time is spent on each page within the website. What products are they looking at? Are they looking at living room sets, or are they looking at a specific couch? Did they come back and look at that same couch again? Are they bouncing around? So how focused are they is a really big part of the overall understanding of what's important to this specific shopper. The next piece is we have a lot of repeat customers. We should understand, and part of the customer 360 and understanding what what that buyer experience is going to be is a matter of, well, have they shopped with us before? What did they buy? And what opportunities do we have to retain them as a customer and to move things forward there? So that data lives in Snowflake. And then they're a very large CRM user. And so from a store associate perspective, as you're coming into the store, Sales Cloud is really the underlying technology to understand who you are as a customer, pulling in all that information, looking at previous orders, et cetera. So that's kind of it from a top level perspective. And so then the new areas that we added in were pulling in with zero copy, pulling in data from Snowflake, from BigQuery, and Google Analytics, leveraging Agentforce to be able to tap into that information. And again, back to understanding, well, what's important here? Are they a previous customer or not? How do I understand that information, merge all this together? And then that what was a templated message of, hey, thanks for your interest, is now extremely bespoke based on all of that information. So Agentforce is writing that message and it gets sent out via digital engagement on the core platform. All right, so let's look at what that journey looks like. So Lauren Bailey here filled out that form. She was interested. She went on with other things, but immediately Agentforce reaches out and is able to, again, write that bespoke message to her, capturing her interest and continuing the conversation, continuing the sale. So again, historically, a lead would come in and this would go to the store and we'd require a store associate to walk to the back, first of all, not be busy or be distracted, walk to the back, pick up the lead in a queue, and message with her and get her to come into the store based on that context, hopefully researching her account overall to provide that customer experience. But again, Agentforce is picking that up kind of from an above the store concept and that always on concept, the hyper-personalization, to encourage her to come into the store to complete her purchase with the context of everything that we already know about Lauren, which is really the ideal state. Go to the next one. All right, so the other thing that I really love about this example and what we're doing with this client is, we always have the concept of, well, if it doesn't exist in Salesforce, it never happened, and we're very much reliant on human individuals to log those updates. So if we're having a conversation with Lauren and she says, well, I was interested in the blue couch, but now I'm interested in the brown couch or the different shade of blue, or I'm going back and forth, et cetera, we have the agent making updates to CRM. So whenever it does go that baton handoff from agent to human in the store and understanding what's important in the conversation and how things transpired, again, agents with the underlying generative AI technology can understand, well, what is important, and we train this agent to understand, well, this is what a store associate would care about in the context of the customer 360. So let's pull all that together. Let's make the relevant updates in CRM. And then again, give that summarization for when that store interaction happens. They lead with their best foot forward there. All right, and then of course, to end our beautiful fairy tale story here, Lauren comes into the store, she's greeted by an associate, has all of that CRM context that's been updated throughout the entire life cycle to date, and that store associate helps Lauren complete her transaction in the store. So that's our journey.
Awesome. Well, everybody, can we give it up for David, please? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That was awesome, and that's and again, starting with agents, that is a live, real agent that exists today. So that's really what we wanted to take through the beginning half for 2/3 of this presentation, is really focus on where to start, what skills that exist, and actually talking about real life solutions and sort of the considerations and steps it takes to get one of those pieces live. So thank you very much, David, really appreciate it. Now we're gonna pivot over and we're gonna talk a little bit about a new solution to Salesforce. I actually joined Salesforce through the acquisition of this particular product. So I am very proud to introduce Retail Cloud, Modern Point of Sale, and how better to do it than through a video.
What if you could recreate the personalization of online shopping right in store, connecting your data, commerce, service, marketing, and loyalty programs on one intelligent platform, so associates and shoppers get the experience they crave? Say hello to Retail Cloud with Modern Point of Sale. Retail Cloud is the first ever unified AI-powered cloud-native POS system built on the #1 AI CRM that brings online and offline shopping experiences together on one platform. Store associates are the front line between your brand and your shoppers. But the reality is that disconnected systems and data make it hard for associates to get a 360-degree view of the shopper. Today's modern store associate needs a modern POS. Retail Cloud with modern POS arms today's associate with a simple interface that's intuitive and easy to use. Retail Cloud is mobile first, so associates can access customer information and fulfill transactions from anywhere. Clienteling enables associates to deliver a memorable and personalized shopping experience. With a 360-degree view of the shopper, associates are armed with valuable real-time information such as loyalty status, purchase history, preferences, and AI-powered product recommendations all in one place, helping associates deliver memorable and personalized shopping experiences even after the customers have left the store. With Endless Aisle, associates and shoppers can see the shopping aisle extend as they browse a full product library, no matter if it's online, in-store, or even out of stock. Modern shoppers expect flexible and convenient fulfillment options that requires a truly omni-channel order management system. Retail Cloud provides real-time inventory visibility across all locations and channels with inventory management. An omni-cart architecture allows each line item to have its own fulfillment method, offering a single mixed cart with different shopper fulfillment options. Retail Cloud connects your store to real-time inventory and shopper data with built-in integrations to Salesforce, data, commerce, service, marketing, and loyalty programs, and is flexible enough to integrate into any system. The no-coding platform is built for configuration and ease of use. With an intuitive drag-and-drop interface, you can personalize your POS for your business. Easy integrations give your customer more payment options, including line busting with iPhone and Tap to Pay, or letting shoppers complete a transaction from the comfort of their home with Pay by Link. Modern connected retail is here. Say hello to Retail Cloud with modern POS.
Awesome. So Salesforce is now in your store. So if you're thinking about how do I take this incredible platform and bring that into my in-store environment, Retail Cloud is the solution to that, bringing customers' order inventory data in real time into and back out of your store into that unified customer profile. Out of the box, integrated through commerce and OMS, the backbone of unified commerce, allowing that customer journey to move seamlessly across things like wish lists and orders. But better than talking about it is actually showing it. So I'd like to invite up to the stage Scott Beeler, one of our principal solution engineers. And Scott is going to take us through this incredible demo that we've put together wrapped around unified commerce and how that can be enabled with AI. Take it away, Scott.
Thanks, Martin. How's everybody doing? Having a good day? So as we mentioned, we're going to be talking about how Janie and Jack, one of our large enterprise customers, is using the entire Salesforce platform to help customers find new products and build relationships online and in store. So in today's demonstration, we're going to be following up with one of our customers, Lauren Bailey, who's going to be shopping for dresses for her twins' upcoming birthday. And typically, she visits the site to find inspiration for products that she needs to buy. When she logs into Commerce Cloud, she sees a curated experience get directly for her. For instance, we see a sign that says, "Welcome back." We see a 25% off discount that is being provided by Salesforce Loyalty Management. Based on qualifying actions, she specifically sees this, and she can use this as a call to action to find products that are relevant to her. Below this, we see product recommendations being derived by Marketing Cloud personalization. So based on what she's purchased in the past, based on what she's viewed, cohort analyses, or any sort of affinities that Janie and Jack is building, we're going to ensure that we're recommending the right product for her at the right time. However, in this instance, Lauren can't find the specific product that she needs. And historically, retailers try to prevent customers from leaving the site, abandoning a session, and making a purchase with a competitor or buying this in a marketplace. So Janie and Jack is using Agentforce to deflect this specific instance by answering any questions that she may see. So similar to what David had said in his presentation, Agentforce can learn a little bit more about what our customers are doing on site. And in this example, it says, "Hey, I see you're evaluating this product. Can I answer any questions that you may have?" To which Lauren says, "Oh, excuse me. Yes, I'd love recommendations for my twins." Upon receiving this prompt, Agentforce is going to connect with Data Cloud to understand the true, complete view of who Lauren is and her family at this moment in time. It's also going to interact with Marketing Cloud personalization to find real-time product recommendations. To which Agentforce would say, it would give options to essentially say, yes, here are some product recommendations that would be specific to you. So ultimately, Agentforce is going to be learning from all customer engagements. It's going to be providing product recommendations specific to customers. And then from there, customers can then engage further. For instance, customers can ask, how do we actually understand if this is going to be a good fit or a good product for my family? In this instance, Agentforce can actually integrate with third-party solutions like reviews networks or integrate with unstructured data like product feedback from a Google Sheet, and then unify that based on that data cloud profile that we've provided for our customers to say, yeah, customers actually do enjoy this. It would fit your twins. You should actually purchase this. To which we now say, yeah, Lauren loves this. I'm going to purchase this. So we've essentially established a two-way dialogue between the brand, Janie and Jack, and the customer, Lauren, because of Agentforce. We could then combine this with aspects of loyalty management to institute cross-sell or upsell opportunities. So as Gordon and Martin had mentioned, we can build guardrails to determine when we can begin to surface offers up via loyalty management. So for example, we can understand who Lauren is as a customer, and we can offer loyalty promotions to her specifically to incentivize her to make this purchase. And then from there, we can pull in aspects of her clienteling profile. How do you want to get this dress? Do you want it shipped to store? If we ship it to a store, are we pulling in your preferred store based on where you shop with us? And then from there, how can we actually transact against this? There are a number of different ways that Agentforce can pull in all the customer information that exists across the entire enterprise in this engagement. And so what we'll ultimately see is Agentforce using this information to take a potential site abandonment into transacting a sale. This has become incredibly powerful for Janie and Jack in terms of actually growing on-site revenue. Now, they also wanted to provide this experience in store. They wanted to provide this dynamic, human-driven experience to the store associates, and they're leveraging Retail Cloud to accomplish this. So for this specific chapter, we're going to be following up with Christine Bates, one of Janie and Jack's retail in-store associates. She's leveraging Retail Cloud on her mobile device to understand what she needs to do from a day-to-day perspective. What front office or back office tasks does she need to complete at this moment in time? So when Lauren comes in to pick up that specific product that she purchased online, Christine can greet her and using this iPad can find all the relevant information to service her. From a fulfillment perspective, she can go into the back office to say, hey, we see a new order that we need to pick. This is the dress that Lauren purchased online. So I can go in, I can pack this on her behalf. I can share my screen with Lauren to make sure that this is the product that she actually wants to purchase. And then once we've packed it, we can go complete this order with the customer and get sign off on this. The powerful aspect of this platform is we can accomplish back office tasks with more front office related activities. For example, when Christine goes back to purchase or to pack this specific dress for her twin daughters, she can actually pull up a 360-degree view of Lauren at this moment. So rather than just sitting in the back office, getting this dress ready, she can actually look at Lauren's profile. And in real time, we are pulling in all aspects of the Salesforce platform to provide this knowledge for our store associates. So Christine can see data being powered by Data Cloud, for instance, address, preference communications, KPIs that are important to her, like her lifetime value, average spend. We can also combine this with loyalty management as well. So for example, we can see where she currently sits in her loyalty tier status with us. We can see perks tier as well, for instance, expedited shipping. We can use promotions as well, powered by loyalty management. With all this information, we are providing Christine numerous calls to action to service customers like Lauren. And with these call to actions, we can now see updated real-time product recommendations powered by Marketing Cloud personalization. So given the fact that we had just purchased a dress, we can actually say, hey, these sunglasses might actually be perfect for you. With this information, we are getting implicit insights into what our customers are doing with our brands. We can also marry this with explicit insights as well. So for example, we can integrate with Commerce Cloud to see what Lauren has done, what products she's added to her wish list, carts that she's abandoned, closets that she's built. And with this, we can arm your in-store associates with knowledge that they can use to recommend products in a more intuitive manner. So with this insight, as Christine takes this information out to Lauren, or takes this product out to Lauren, she can actually say, hey, would you like to complete this look? Do you want to make your daughter's dress look that much better? To which Lauren says, yeah, great, I would love to. So in this instance, Christine and Lauren walk the floor and she finds specific items that would actually complement this. For this, we can use a barcode scanner within Retail Cloud to follow the customer. She says, yeah, these glasses actually match the dress that I purchased online. Let's add it to my cart. And directly from this mobile device, which we use to pack this item to look up her customer profile, we can begin to build a cart. And as we begin to follow customers, we can ensure that we can find the right piece of inventory for that customer at the right time. So in this event, Lauren says, well, I'm actually looking for a shirt for my son to actually match the dresses for my daughters. I see you don't have it in my size. That's a shame because I really wanted to buy it. In the past, Janie and Jack could have potentially lost the sale. But however, leveraging Retail Cloud, we were able to deliver an endless aisle capability where we can search your product catalog directly from within the same iPad. Excuse me. And with this, we can pull up the inventory across the entire Janie and Jack network. So as you can see, size 5 is currently out of stock within this store. But if we look at all stores near us, we can actually see that within another Chicago location, she can buy it from here. So Christine can actually provide a number of different options to procure this. So for example, if I'm at a store, can I place a store pickup order for this? If I want to ship this to my address, can I do this instead? What we can do is we can leverage the aspects of loyalty management that we gained just by combining everything into a singular profile. And Christine can say, you actually get expedited shipping as a gold member. Would you want me to get this sent to you before your daughter's birthday? And Lauren says, yeah, absolutely, let's do it. So we add this product to her cart, and as we go to checkout, we now see this progressive mixed cart that we're building. We see the flower sunglasses that we're gonna be purchasing in store, and we see the poplin shirt that we're gonna be delivering to her. All within a singular platform, we were able to transact this one specific order across 2 different products. And with the power of Retail Cloud, what ultimately happened was we took a simple in-store pickup, we leveraged knowledge that we have in our customer, leveraging Data Cloud, loyalty management, and we use this to build a more progressive basket, thus achieving additional cross-sell and upsell related capabilities, thus making the store associates experience that much more profitable. So throughout this entire interaction, Lauren has been giving Janie and Jack a treasure trove of data that it can use for remarketing purposes. And historically in the past, retailers struggled with this mass amount of data in order to take advantage of it. They would need to leverage IT and work with an exhaustive backload in order to build out a single segment or a single email, or they would need to purchase disparate technologies to deliver the right segment, messaging, automation, what have you. However, Janie and Jack is using Marketing Cloud Advanced, Salesforce's next generation marketing capabilities. And specifically, they are creating campaigns with Agentforce. So we saw Agentforce answer questions on the site for customers like Lauren and proclaim the sale. What we can also do is leverage AI to help Janie and Jack's marketing team create campaigns with the click of a button. So when we draft these campaigns, we can create a brief, and with a simple prompt, for example, create a campaign to promote Janie and Jack. We're defining the segment that we want to follow up with, recent in-store purchases. We're creating the use case that we want to follow up on, following up with customers after they made a purchase, so retention-based campaigns. And then we're determining the reach as well. What emails, what SMS messages are we ultimately going to send? When we draft this brief, Agentforce is going to provide those parameters for us to build this campaign. We have the ability to also reference other campaigns that were created by marketers. So for example, if Janie and Jack created an award-winning campaign in the past, we can use this as a reference campaign that Agentforce can learn from. In terms of tone, campaign, messaging, consistency, what have you, we can ultimately create a campaign in a matter of seconds, not months, hopefully not years. So ultimately, when we create this campaign, we see that Agentforce has done the heavy lifting for our marketing teams. We see that we've already included a new segment, existing high lifetime value customers. Emails have been created on our behalf, as well as SMS messages. This gives your team opportunities to dive into every single step and spend their time on more strategic work. How can we make the segment more specific or more tailored toward this use case? What messaging should we put in the email instead? How should we use promotions within this content as well? So we remove the repetitive manual tasks that marketers typically see in campaign creation and enable your teams to now focus on performance. And with this, we can begin to introduce next steps that you need to take as well. So for instance, what are other channels that we need to focus on? Can we have the in-store associate follow up with our customers if they're not engaging with this email? So again, numerous solutions across the Salesforce ecosystem that your teams can use to improve all engagements with your customers in real time. Now I'll hand it back off to Gordon.
All right, give it up for Scott. Wasn't that amazing? Great job, dude. So you saw from the demo how we can think about, oh, my coat's a little funky there, huh? All right, very good. You saw an amazing demo from Janie and Jack. You saw how we can go through personalization, acquisition, engagement, transaction, service, loyalty, all combined to help your employees go faster and give a better experience to your shoppers on your site, reduce your costs, and drive revenue. We've got much more here to come. Tomorrow afternoon is the Commerce Cloud keynote. I hope to see you all there. You can also visit the campground. There's a number of great customer experiences. Indiana Fever's got one, but you'll also see the Janie and Jack experience. So if you want to kind of get closer to the demo that Scott just showed and go home with some Janie and Jack gear for your family, that is within reach. You can get hands-on with the demo. All of this innovation, you can go to sfdc.co and see it live if you want a chance to just spend a little bit more time and go a little bit more slowly with it. So I hope that helped you understand how agents can impact your business, give you some more practical considerations of where you want to employ them in your organization. And with that, give us some feedback. If you expected something different in this session, or if you wanted to hear about order servicing or something else, let us know. We can definitely tune this for next time. And thank you. Enjoy the rest of Connections. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.